Hey, what's up guys? Back with another video. Today we're going to do a comparison. We are going to be comparing the good old tried and true Hawg Trough with the newest measuring board on the market, the Ketch Karbonate. Stay tuned. Alright guys, before we get into the video, we got some baits to give away. I have picked a winner, and that winner is Christine D. Make sure you shoot me a message and give me your address. I'll get these sent out to you. I'll throw some hooks in there as well. I want to read you the comment though. I thought it was funny. Juicy stash. How do you stand up straight when the stash weighs 9 freaking pounds? Also, nice fish. Alright, Christine D, you're the winner. Shoot me the info. Alright guys, here we go. Side by side, you can see that I actually have the 26-inch version of the Ketch Karbonate. The Hawg Trough is going to be the standard 30 inches. I don't think I'm ever going to catch a bass longer than 26, so I just opted for the shorter of the two. Figured this would be a little bit easier to store on the kayak. I mean, it's not much smaller, but just a little bit easier. Okay, so right off the bat, when I look at these two, this catch board is a lot more sturdy. You can kind of notice it's a little thicker. It seems like there's a little bit more bracing on the back side of this. If you look at the Hawg Trough, there's definitely a lot more flex in this thing. You cannot really do that with this board. So right off the bat, this thing does feel a lot more sturdy. That being said, I have only had a few Hawg Troughs in my day. I did have one that kind of started cracking on the back, and I thought I was going to have to replace it. But I fished it for like another 2 or 3 years before it finally gave out on me, and I think what happened was I think I like stepped on it or something to finally break it. But that being said, I don't think stepping on this thing is gonna, really be an issue. This thing is a lot more flimsy. Okay, so right off the bat, this is a lot more flimsy. Definitely built better. Okay, I do also like how, let's see, is this any wider? Yeah, so I do like how the fish sit on this thing. It's a little bit wider, so I don't know, it just seems like the fish aren't hanging off the sides as much. And I really thought I was going to like how not only do you have the numbers on the flat surface here, the measurements, but you also have measurements along the top. I thought that was a benefit, okay, because I thought it'd be easier to judge fish, right? But actually it's quite the opposite. I think it's depending on how your camera's angled. I mean, I'm taking shots from straight overhead, but when you look at this, when you look at the tail of the fish, it appears to be on, let's say, like the 16.5, but then the top of the tail appears to be at like 17 or 16.25. I'll go ahead and include a screenshot of what I'm talking about. Kind of hard to explain, but I will snap a screenshot in here and then you guys will hopefully be able to see what I'm talking about. One thing that you do notice right off the bat is that the Ketch Karbonate is pre-lined. This Hawg Trough is not. However, you can get Hawg Troughs that are already pre-lined, so that's not a huge difference. I think the big difference between these two boards are that this one is just going to be a lot more sturdy. I feel like this one's going to last longer. It's going to take more abuse, but it is more heavy, so it's going to sink a little bit quicker. Alright guys, so after further review on this Ketch Karbonate, I really don't think that the measurements being on the top of this board is ever going to result in somebody getting more or even less length out of a fish in a tournament situation. I think that it really does serve a purpose, and that it helps give you an indication of where you're at on the board if for some reason this part of the board is unclear, based on sunlight, or maybe there's rain puddling on on the board or something like that, I think this really does come in handy. I just think that you definitely aren't judging fish by what you see up here. You are using the hash marks that are on the flat surface of the board to make that call, but this will help you kind of figure out where you're at on the board if there are some obstructions. So really, I don't think this is any harm. This is something that I've noticed, but I don't think it's going to result in anybody winning a tournament that they don't deserve. So anyways, for you guys that have been fishing the Hawg Trough for the last like 5 years, I'm sure it was around before I started kayak fishing, but it's always been the staple. You know, then we saw the Ketch board, the aluminum Ketch board come to market, and that thing was like 80 bucks or something. I just never really thought that it was a huge issue. I never really was super against the Hawg Trough. I thought it was a good option. I guess the bad thing is that when you are lining these Hawg Troughs, you have a lot of people that are fat lining them. They're putting big ol', you know, fat Sharpies on them, and I don't know, a lot of tournaments will just say, no, you can't use that board. But there just leaves a lot more room for human error when you're lining your own board like this. I like that this comes, you know, standard with the markings. I like the color. You know, the probably the most famous measuring board is that Hawg Trough, that kind of like highlighter yellow. I feel like this is really easy, this color of yellow, even though it's not like a super fluorescent color. That's probably a good thing. I think in most light conditions, this thing is really easy to read. I think some of the aluminum Hawg Troughs can be more difficult to read based on light conditions and you know, what color your board is and all that stuff. I've seen some questionable photos out there, so I'm really a big fan of this Ketch Karbonate. I think that somebody's probably going to try to cut this thing and glue it back together like they've done on the Hawg Troughs, you know, to gain a couple inches and cheat or whatever. But I think it'd be harder to do with this. I also think it's going to be harder to put some bend in the board, you know. So that was another controversial thing where people were kind of bending the boards inward, and they would end up getting some more length out of the fish. So they would put the fish down on the board, and they would have, you know, one end propped up on something and the other end maybe sitting down inside their kayak, and then they're pushing down on the board. And so you see that flex there. You know, you might be able to gain like a 1/4 inch or something, and a lot of these tournaments are won by those smaller measurements. So I think that there's a need for a new measuring board. I don't know that this one should necessarily be, you know, banned or whatever, but anyways, whether you guys are tournament fishing, whether you guys are just fishing for fun, if you're in the market for a new measuring board, I'm gonna recommend this one for like 30 bucks. I say go with the Ketch Karbonate. I think it's gonna last longer. I think it's going to be easier to store on the kayak. I think it's going to be harder to cheat with. This is my recommendation. I love the Hawg Trough. I'm thankful for the Hawg Trough because it's served its purpose very well over the years. But this is my new favorite measuring board, and hopefully you guys will go pick up one and join us for some kayak fishing and get out there on the water and put some fish in the boat. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys think. Are you going to stay with the Hawg Trough, or are you going with the Ketch Karbonate? And tell me some experiences that you guys have had with either or. Okay, so I appreciate you guys watching. And you know, the last video I did a giveaway. I don't want to do giveaways all the time, but you guys were very responsive, and just to be appreciative of the fact that you guys are engaging in these videos, I want to do something for you. What I want to do is I actually want to give away this board. This is the Hawg Trough, and you know, it's a brand new white Hobie Hawg Trough, and I'm going to give it away. So make sure you guys comment in the comment section below. I want to make sure that you guys are liking and subscribing. And if you do that and you drop a comment in the comment section below, I'm going to pick a random winner and I'll ship this to you. So drop the comment, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys on the water.